Okay, let's take a look at some past paper example questions on volumes. Now, usually, if you're asked to find a volume in a past paper question, it will involve either an addition of two volumes or a subtraction of two volumes. These are incredibly common questions that if you look back at past papers, you will see occur year on year. So what we have here is a traffic bollard is in the shape of a cylinder and a hemisphere, with a hemisphere on top. So take note that we're dealing with two volumes. One is the volume of a cylinder and one is the volume of a hemisphere. A hemisphere is just half of a sphere. To find that volume, just find the sphere volume and half it. Simple. The entire bollard is 24 centimeters in height. Sorry, it's got a diameter of 24 centimeters and the entire height is 70 centimeters. And what we want to do is calculate the volume of the bollard. So we take this in stages. Let's first of all calculate the volume of the cylinder. So let's make it clear that this bit we are calculating the volume of the cylinder. So that's one of the ones that we have to remember. So volume is equal to pi r squared h. So volume is going to be pi times the radius is, if the diameter is 24, then the radius has to be 12. So it's going to be pi times 12 squared multiplied by the height. Now, it's the height of the cylinder, not the total object. The total height is 70, but we are only interested in the height of the actual cylinder. And this is the tricky bit that we need to work out. So what you might notice is that if we have a hemisphere, the radius of the hemisphere doesn't change. So if it's 12 going along the way, the radius, that's the exact same as the distance from the centre of this hemisphere up to the top. So really all we need to do is, if we take 12 centimetres off of our 70, then that will give me the height of the cylinder. So that means that the height of the cylinder has to be 58 centimetres. So it's pi times 12 squared times 58. And let's go ahead and work that out then. So pi times 12 squared times 58, which is going to be 26,238.58 cubic centimeters. So cylinder done. Next we'll deal with the hemisphere. So don't think that you need to remember the volume of a hemisphere. You don't. All you need to do is remember to look at the front of your exam booklet, find the volume of the sphere, and then hemi it, i.e. half it. So the volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. So it's going to be 4/3 times pi times the radius that we've already discussed is 12. So it's going to be 12 cubed. So let's work it out. So 4/3 multiplied by pi multiplied by 12 cubed, which is 7,238.23 cubic centimeters. But we want to half that because it's a hemisphere, so divide that by 2. So we can say the volume of the hemisphere, let's put a wee h beside that, divide that by 2, and we get 3,619.11 cubic centimeters. And then to get the total volume, add it all up. So volume total is going to be 26,238.58 plus 3,619 0.11. If we then add that up, we get 29,857.69. This is wanting us to round it to 3 significant figures. So chop a number off here. So that's going to be 29,900 cubic centimeters. So, like I've said previously, volume questions is where they really want you to make sure you give the correct rounding and correct units. So they're usually worth 5 marks. So the 5 marks are, first mark is for finding the correct volume of the cylinder. Second mark is for finding the correct volume of the hemisphere. The third mark is for knowing to carry out an addition of 2 volumes. The fourth mark is for carrying out that addition correctly. And then the final mark is for the rounding and the units in the answer. So it is very, very easy to get the correct answer in this, but you have to make sure that you make all of your steps nice and clear. State what is the cylinder, what is the hemisphere, state what you're doing with it. The worst thing you can do is just do all the calculations in one without writing anything down and giving the answer. You must always show all of your working. Also make sure that you don't round too early. So I wouldn't, for example, I would not, I'll do this in purple, I will not round to 26,200 here, 3 sig figs. I will not round it here to 3,620, because if I then add those two up, I get 29,820. So you can't then round to then round again. Keep the rounding very mild. Yes, I rounded it off to 2 decimal places, that's absolutely fine, that's not a problem. But leave your rounding to 3 sig figs until the very end. Never ever round too early.